On this episode, I am going to be talking about buying a for sale by owner house. Coming up. Welcome, I'm your host, Steve Pinate, Realtor and host of the Steve Talks Real Estate Show, where we bring you value, content, and tips in all things real estate and housing related. So on this episode, have you ever seen those houses that are being sold, but out front, there's a sign right in the yard that says, for sale by owner, call this number. I am going to be talking about 3 things you need to know when buying a for sale by owner house. Now, a for sale by owner house simply means that the owners of the house, the sellers, are not using a real estate agent to sell their house. Here we go. Number 1, even though the sellers are not using a licensed real estate agent to sell their house, that doesn't mean you as the buyer also have to go at it alone. As a matter of fact, I'm here to encourage you. Make sure you have your real estate agents. Even though the house is being sold by the owner, him or herself, that doesn't mean they are not going to pay your realtor fees. I highly encourage you to make sure that you are well represented with the real estate agent you are using to help you purchase the house. Keep this in mind. You don't want to go at this alone. Remember, there are legal contracts being written and signed in this whole transaction. There are inspections, there are appraisals, there's working with title companies, with lenders. There are so many things involved to go at this alone. Remember, buying the house is one of the biggest purchases you'll do in your lifetime. Make sure you are well represented in this purchase. Most sellers will be willing to pay your agent fees. Number 2, even though the house is being sold by the owner, him or herself, it doesn't mean that the transaction has to be any differently. Escrow has to be open. You get to do the inspection on the house. The appraisal has to be done. Don't let the seller bully you into thinking that he or she can have his or her way. Remember, every transaction flows the exact same way. And that's why it's important that you are represented by a buying real estate agent. Make sure that this agent is on your side during this whole transaction. Number 3, the pricing of the house can be off. Keep in mind that the seller is selling the house. Therefore, he or she might have gotten some tips from a real estate agent they interviewed and ended up not hiring. Therefore, they could have a ballpark figure, but the pricing could be off. They are not a licensed real estate agent submerged in the market that we are currently in. That's why it's so important that you as the buyer are sitting down with your real estate agent. Both of you are gathering comparables, looking at the market data, and making sure that the offer you are going to submit is an offer the seller can't refuse. Well, that wraps up episode number 55 of the Steve Talks Real Estate Show. What do you think of this wall behind me? My wife actually made it. I'm actually building up a studio here to keep bringing you the best in real estate. Stay tuned for some exciting things happening on the show. Keep sending in your questions and I will do my best to keep answering them. We'll see you next time.